meal. Stop today after school. Check this out. The Wednesday all-you-can-eat fish fry is just $7.99. Whoa! That's crazy. From 2 till 5 today, beers, cocktails, and appetizers are half price. The Mine Shaft in beautiful downtown Hartford and just off Highway 41 in Oshkosh, right near EAA. Walk in today for the Tuesday all-you-can-eat Mexican buffet for under $10. MineShaftRestaurant.com. It's the amazing Mine Shaft.
Many times, patients have symptoms they didn't know were actually related to their airway breathing issues.
I was suffering from sinus issues, jaw issues, and neck pain. I guess I just kind of had my breaking point.
Unfortunately, this is typical. But until you get to the root of your problem, it's going to just persist. Fortunately, Jody took action, and the results were typical as well.
My quality of life is so different, but one of the first things that I noticed was my breathing. I don't ever remember being able to breathe like that.
Being able to breathe freely is life-changing, and the effects can go beyond that.
Sleeping better, having more energy, and it seemed as if all of those symptoms that I had just melted away.
And thank heavens for that, because at Advent, results are what drive us, helping you breathe well so you can live better.
Results may vary. Most insurance accepted.
Built Right Furniture, Leather, and Mattress.
You gotta get to Built Right today.
Breaking news as it happens. Stay up to date with your trusted and relevant source in news, sports, traffic, and weather. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 101, it's 37 degrees. We've already achieved our high today, mostly sunny and breezy. Temperatures falling into the upper 30s in the afternoon, overnight low of 32. From the WTMJ Breaking Newsroom, I'm Greg Matzik. Senior officials from Ukraine and the United States have begun meeting for hours in Saudi Arabia, focused on ending Moscow's 3-year war against Kiev. The talks come hours after Russia shot down over 300 Ukrainian drones. CBS's Jennifer Jacobs.
These talks here in Jeddah started more than 8 hours ago, and they continue. The negotiators are deep into nitty-gritty details right now. They're working towards this peace deal that they want. They're still in the early negotiations.
The talks come after President Trump paused U.S. military aid to Ukraine, along with some intelligence sharing last week, in an attempt to pressure Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky to engage in negotiations and end the war against Russia. President Trump doubling his planned tariffs on steel and aluminum from 25% to 50% for Canada. But it's not Canadian citizens versus the United States citizens who will hurt more from tariffs. It's workers.
When it comes to trade relationships, the U.S. and Canada is historically as balanced as it can get.
50-50. It's about $250 billion either way. There's no trade imbalance.
Ontario's Minister of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade, Vic Fideli, joined Wisconsin's Afternoon News. He says both Canada and the United States could see job loss in the hundreds of thousands.
Not all of Canada, just Ontario, is the largest customer for 17 U.S. states, and we're your number 2 customer for 11 more states.
Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
UW-Madison among 60 universities across the country in danger of losing federal funding if they fail to protect Jewish students on campus. A letter sent to the school warns of potential enforcement actions if they do not fulfill their obligation under Title VI of the Civil Rights Act to protect Jewish students. The letter comes almost a year after pro-Palestinian encampments formed at both UW-Madison and UW-Milwaukee. UW-Madison, the only Wisconsin university on the list. Sales plunging at Menominee Falls-based Kohl's.
The fourth quarter net income at Kohl's dropped 74% from a year ago, and sales fell more than 9% for the quarter. New CEO Ashley Buchanan says their plan moving forward will be to offer a more balanced assortment, reestablish Kohl's as a leader in quality, and create a smooth experience both in-store and online. But he admits it's going to take some time to right the ship. Some layoffs and store closures have already taken place. Eric Bilstead, WTMJ News.
And the clock is ticking on that Real ID, but is the federally compliant license for people who are traveling through the United States airports or visiting federal buildings worth it? Federal Security Director for TSA, Wisconsin's Mark Lenve.
Beginning May 7th, transportation security officers with the TSA at our nation's airports will start enforcing the Real ID requirements at our ticket document checker positions. Individuals without a real ID would be delayed in going through our TSA screening process, and that delay could be anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes trying to get through TSA security checkpoints.
How do you know if you have a real Wisconsin ID? Well, check for the star in the upper right-hand corner. Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Everything in the red. The Dow down nearly 500 points at 41,418. S&P is off about 40 this afternoon at 55.72. NASDAQ down about 30 points at 17,430. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. It's financial planning at every level. For details, visit annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 1:05.
If you need a place for new home interior ideas, then you have to come talk to us. Our on-staff decorators know furniture, home decor, and a lot more. And they're not only creative, but also very willing to help you make great choices. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating taste come to find premium home decor at a value. Design Exchange in Heartland and Pewaukee. Stop in often because our inventory changes daily.
Design Exchange.
Previously, it has been gently loved, but here you'll only find very well-conditioned premium home decor items that you likely won't find elsewhere. Distinctive furniture, unique antiques, and original art, and other tasteful home decor at a value. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating taste come to find premium home decor on consignment at 25 to 40% off retail prices in Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
Beer fans, travel lovers, and history buffs, this is your dream vacation. Join me, Sandy Max, on a 10-day journey through Germany, Austria, and the Czech Republic. We'll enjoy Munich's famous beer halls, sip our way through Salzburg's historic breweries, and discover Vienna's culture and craft beer scene. Then end the tour in Prague, where ancient history meets modern brews. From iconic castles to authentic flavors, grab your passport and let's raise a glass to the ultimate beer adventure. Limited spots available. Book now. Email me, sandy@wtmj.com to learn more.
Hi, I'm Jim Token, president of the Auto Dealers of Metro Milwaukee. Did you know that Adam members employ more than 7,500 people? Plus, Adam recently completed their 14th annual Feeding America Change Your Oil promotion. To date, Adam has donated over $875,000, which provided over 2.6 million meals. Start your next car search by finding an Adam member dealer at adam.com. That's ADAMM.com.
Time for WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports desk. The NFL league year and official free agent signing period begins Wednesday afternoon. Packers agree to terms of a contract with offensive lineman Aaron Banks and cornerback Nate Hobbs. Pittsburgh Steelers are reportedly in conversations with Aaron Rodgers. Meanwhile, the Bucs post up in Indianapolis tonight against the Pacers. Potential playoff preview for the Bucs. Head coach Doc Rivers looking for a bounce back after back-to-back losses.
Just got to keep building with the new guys to get them acclimated. We got to be consistent in the way we play. Every time we play right, it's hard to beat us. And every time we don't, anyone can beat us.
Coverage of tonight's game gets underway at 6 o'clock on WTMJ. Brewers take on the Cubs this afternoon. Our next broadcast scheduled for Friday afternoon. Taking a look at your roads, the WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic Update. Disabled vehicle 94 westbound at County Highway F. The right lane is blocked due to that disabled vehicle. Volume is pretty light in that area, so no issues getting around it. Should have plenty of space to move over. Otherwise, you're experiencing standard travel times throughout the system this afternoon. Mostly sunny and breezy today. We've already achieved our high of 45. Temperatures steadily falling here. Overnight low of 32. Tomorrow we get up to the mid-50s inland, a little cooler near the lake. Looking to get to 58 on Thursday. Again, a little cooler near the lake. Friday's high 71. Chance of rain, potentially strong storms in the evening on Friday. Right now in Madison, it's 45. Green Bay, 40. It's 43 in Waukesha and 42 at the Avenue. I'm Greg Matzik. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 1:08.
65,498 square miles. We've got a lot to cover, so let's get to it. This is Spanning the State, and here are your hosts, Kristin, Brey, and Brian Noonan.
Good afternoon, Brian.
Hello.
How you feeling today?
I'm good. Are you? You all right?
Well, I'm okay. I did find out a little irony for today.
Oh.
Today is National Immune System Day.
And I feel your immune system has been under attack.
I feel like mine has been absent for the last month of an unrelenting cold and just mountains of used tissue all around me in my path. I'm like,
I thought you were over it.
I know. I thought I was too. And then Friday it came back with a vengeance.
Because you went out, didn't you?
No, it started during the day on Friday.
Oh, all right.
And so, yeah, I'm like Hansel and Gretel, just leaving like a trail of used Kleenex behind me to find my way home.
There's your visual to start the show.
Yep. Love it. We always like to give you really, really gross visuals.
Paint a picture. That's what we do with our words.
Exactly. All right, but coming up today, it is Tuesday. So we have another Giving Tuesday coming up, and it is Women's History Month. I guess we haven't really talked much about that yet, but and Saturday was International Women's Day. And so we have a couple different organizations throughout this month focused on women and girls, and today we're going to be talking about Girls Rock.
Right on.
Which is exactly what it sounds like. It's a group that uses music and performance to bolster self-esteem. And then something to know about Warner Brothers movies that were produced, DVDs specifically, in the late 2000s. They may be rotting. So we will talk a little bit more about that at the end of the hour.
Sounds tragic. Then after we spin the state, do you want to look like Kelly Clarkson and the million other people who are on like Wegovy and Ozempic? Well, your insurance might not cover it. Chris Ford is a physician. He's going to join us to talk all about that, why insurance doesn't cover those drugs. And if they did, what would the benefit be? And then, next Monday is St. Patrick's Day. But this Saturday, all things in Milwaukee will be green because the Milwaukee St. Patrick's Day Parade is happening. We will talk to Mike Boyle, the parade director. And then, oh my goodness, have you seen, now you have not seen this commercial.
I have not.
There's a new commercial out. It's a series of commercials, national and international, from Homeland Security. So we'll talk all about that and our image abroad as wannabe tough guys.
But I also think I just don't watch that much live. So are you seeing this commercial when you watch the news at night? Yeah. And so I guess that's because even the commercials for Brad Schimmel and Susan Crawford, I know there's a lot of them, but I don't feel like I've been as inundated as I was. Like, I haven't heard really that many on the air yet.
No, I haven't heard.
Which is kind of shocking.
I don't think I've heard any on the air.
Think about how many we got in November for the between the Senate race and the president's race.
And where's all the money going? We're getting reports that both sides are getting tons of money from outside donors. What are they spending it on?
I mean, it's definitely TV ads. I just don't think I'm watching enough live television to
I see these Homeland Securities
the impact of them.
As soon as I'm done watching David Muir flex.
Does he flex a lot?
Oh, he's the one who tightened up his fireman's coat during the wildfires. He wears form-fitting suits.
If he did that, or if a producer was like, "No, we got to pull it back."
I don't know. Every promo for ABC Nightly News, which is what I watch because I'm old, he is in tight black T-shirts. Like, there is no mistaking. Oh, does David Muir lift? Yes, David Muir lifts. And he's not afraid to show those guns off in a war zone.
All those guys, this is totally getting off the track, but like all those ABC, like Good Morning America guys, they all kind of look like carbon copies of each other. They all have, the guys specifically, all have dark hair. They're all handsome.
You get a Gio Benitez.
They all look like they're in very good shape.
Yeah. But then you go to NBC and there's Lester Holt. Just looks like a regular guy.
But he's retiring. He's retiring, right?
He's retiring, yeah.
All right.
He let himself. You know why? Because he dared to get old, and now he has to leave.
Oh, that happens to men too. I thought they just kicked women off the air once they were too old.
They allow men to retire. Women get kicked off the air. Men are allowed to retire gracefully.
God. All right. Well, today is also. I don't even know if we call it an anniversary. I don't know what we've designated this day as, besides the fact that it was exactly 5 years ago today, after more than 118,000 cases and more than 4,200 deaths across 114 countries had been recorded, that the World Health Organization declared the novel coronavirus a pandemic. It's been 5 years exactly. And so now some people will dispute this number, but according to the WHO, as of February 2025, over 7 million people worldwide have died because of COVID.
That's an insane number.
That's a lot of people.
In a time when we are supposedly advanced medically and scientifically, to have a virus kill that many people is shocking.
Yeah. And in the U.S., it's about 1.2 million people. And yet it just feels like something as a society, maybe in this country, I don't know what it's like in other countries because this obviously was a global pandemic, we don't want to talk about. We want to move on. We don't. It happened. It was in the past. And it's so political. It's so controversial that we kind of don't, remember those who died, remember those who have lost someone, remember those who still are dealing with long COVID. Mm-hmm. And it's just kind of like, well, it happened. Brushed under the rug.
And that is because, as you mentioned, there was such a divide. And this is something that no matter how much science is put forward, no matter how many facts are put forward, there is a segment of society that will never believe that it was as serious as it was.
Yeah.
And because of that, it's not like 9/11 or World War II where you could say, all right, these people died as a direct result of the Germans.
An enemy.
Or an enemy. There was always, yes, these people died of COVID, but there was something, there was always that little grain of doubt that could feed the people who were already predisposed to not believe it. There was always something else there. And it's a travesty because I thankfully had nobody in my life that died of COVID, but I know a lot of people have. And it's to dishonor them by saying that this was fake and didn't really happen or wasn't as serious. I don't know how you do that. I don't know how a person can remember the images of the semi-trailers behind hospitals that were temporary morgues. Hear the reports from nursing homes or hospitals or wherever of people dying. Well, those were old people. Not all of them. And even some of the old people were pretty healthy before they got it.
So when we come back, we're going to dive into a little bit more of the lessons and this legacy left from COVID 5 years later on Spanning the State.
While the Indiana underdogs may have won in the movie,
if you put your effort and concentration into playing to your potential, to be the best that you can be, in my book, we're going to be winners.
those Hollywood fairy tales don't work when we're in town.
Damian Lillard lets it fly again, and he is locked in right now. Damian Lillard.
The Bucks head to Indiana to take on the Pacers.
4 3-pointers.
Our Bucks radio game day coverage starts tonight at 6. We are the home of the Bucks. WTMJ.
Hey, it's WTMJ's Kristin Brey, and if you're looking for a new dentist, you should check out my dentist, Dr. James Michaels at Economowalk Dental Care. Dr. Michaels is committed to providing you with the highest level of care possible, and I can assure you that he will prioritize your needs no matter how sensitive, just like he did with mine. If you're due for a dental visit, Economowalk Dental has an $89 new patient special, so you can get the care that you need at an affordable price. In addition to my exam, Dr. Michael's staff provided a gentle, professional cleaning that left my mouth feeling smooth and rejuvenated. And we all have to go to the dentist, so don't put it off any longer. Check out Economowalk Dental Care at drmichaelsdentalcare.com or give them a call at 262-567-7224. If you want to start feeling confident about your smile, go see my dentist, Dr. James Michaels at Economowalk Dental Care.
For over a century, local broadcasting has evolved with the needs of the community. We move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Welcome back to Spanning the State. I'm Brian Noonan.
And I am Kristin Brey. And 5 years ago today, the WHO officially declared the coronavirus had reached pandemic status. And I think whether you want to admit it or not, we're all still living with the aftermath, from people who continue to face health impacts, to grief over loved ones who were lost, to your friend who maybe couldn't keep a plant alive before and now has very strong feelings about the correct way to start a sourdough starter. to now, offices sitting empty. And so there's a lot of different impacts that COVID has left. And I think the biggest thing is, and I said this in the first segment, is if 7 million people died globally, how there's not any kind of day of remembrance or some kind of collective acknowledgement that we went through this as that, not even just as a country, but as a world?
I think because we can't agree on it.
Yeah.
Now I looked this up. There are 2 countries that have permanent COVID remembrance things. It's London and Belgium. Illinois has one proposed, as do a couple of other states. There was a national one that was more of a pop-up. It lasted for a few months, and it was a flag. It started with one flag, but by the time it was over, there were thousands and thousands of flags. But that's gone now too, and it's because the texters are an indication. People, like you said, they don't want to talk about it. They don't believe it happened. They don't. It was, maybe their business was affected, or their kid fell behind in school, or they just didn't believe it because, at the beginning, the scientists thought one thing, and some of those things were wrong, and they corrected themselves because that's what happens during science. You do more, you study something, your knowledge of that evolves, you learn more about it. And for some reason with COVID, besides the politics, people couldn't grasp that what I told you a year ago as a doctor may have changed. And the more we've studied this and the more we've studied how it affects people, now we know this about it. They couldn't get past that. Well, you told me this a year ago and now you're changing your mind, so the whole thing is fake. There's no consensus, and I think that's why there's no national monument or Day of Remembrance or worldwide Day of Remembrance.
Yeah.
Because it's...
Well, we were talking about it this morning. It'll be interesting to see if we evolve into, as we get even further away, because we had thrown out like the Vietnam Memorial. And even that, I mean, granted, it was erected before I was born, but like, if you think about how controversial Vietnam was and how Vietnam vets were treated when they first got back, even though obviously they were just either drafted or, they weren't the ones calling the shots. As we've gotten more space from it, obviously we now have the memorial and we have very different feelings about that war in hindsight. And I wonder if we'll feel that way.
Or at least the people who served in that war.
Because I feel like everything you listed as far as your business being affected, you're being at home with your kids, the learning loss, but isn't that all encompassing of what COVID was? Like,
yes.
It wasn't just the virus. It wasn't just the disease. It was like what the legacy has left on like how our culture itself has changed in reaction to it. And I think that's what it's also interesting to me. Like when we think about what is the most lasting legacy, and I feel like how we work and live is a big one as far as the understanding of like how we can work remotely. But New York Times put out graphs this morning as far as graphs as like pre and post COVID.
Sure.
And one was we now, Americans specifically, now spend like a full hour and a half more per day home. Like it's shocking to see the graph of like before 2020 time spent in your house versus post 2020, and that's even up until 2025. Sure. How much more time we just spend at home, and how much that is potentially leading to like the loneliness epidemic.
I was going to say the isolation that we're hearing not only in adolescents and children, but in adults who are choosing, it seems now, to isolate themselves a little more. I know it changed how. Like, I don't think of it as COVID anymore. My habits just changed. Instead of going to the movie theaters or going to this, it wasn't like now I'm not worried about getting sick anymore, but I just got used to not doing certain things during that time that I haven't gone back to for whatever reason. And I'm sure there's other people who do that. I also think 5 years out, there's some places where we can start getting past using COVID as an excuse. What do you mean? Well, like the first year back at school, after everybody used COVID as an excuse for, well, these kids missed a whole year of school. Okay, well, they didn't really miss a whole year of school. There's evidence that there is some learning loss, but other kids did thrive during that. But at 5 years, discipline shouldn't still be blamed on COVID. Reading scores shouldn't be blamed on COVID. If your kid was in kindergarten during COVID, now they're in 4th grade. They've had plenty of time in school. I understand businesses that tried to come back after COVID that have battled.
We just talked about This Is It closing, yeah.
So that's time, but there's gonna come that point where it's like, okay, this is just the evolution of businesses. It's not necessarily that, but denying some of those causations, you still can't throw out the fact that we went into a complete shutdown. We had never seen anything like that before. Yeah. And it drove people crazy. And it also led, I think, to an explosion of conspiracy theories because people, like you said, they were at home. I spent a lot more time drinking and on the internet at first when COVID started than I did with any other time.
What's funny about that is that those are also two of the graphs in the New York Times roundup of this. One is alcohol sales.
Yep.
That was huge.
Oh, sure.
And now it's come back down. But also there's this one massive spike around like April, May of 2020 of how to cut your own hair. And, but let's take a quick break because then the one thing I'm fearful of is how this will change how we handle future health crises. So we'll talk more about that on Spanning the State after this.
Steve Scafidi is your guide through the world of politics.
And I'll just tell you, I'm worried about this because I think we should be an ally of Ukraine. What do you think?
There are also righteous fights. And the people of Ukraine are fighting for their freedoms and their liberty.
On the Political Power Hour.
This guy is erratic, and I don't know if it's because of his personal issues or his inability
What are you
to see
talking about?
Look, let's leave that.
Weekday mornings from 9 to 10 on WTMJ.
Hey, it's WTMJ's Brian Noonan here for Milwaukee Weight Loss. You hear me talk about this every day. I couldn't be more excited. I've been doing this for 7 weeks. I've already lost 42 pounds. Today, I actually was able to put on a quarter zip that I haven't been able to wear in years. I feel great. I don't know if I look great, but I feel great. So that's the thing. And if you want to do it, you can too. It is the secret for losing up to 1 pound of fat every day. It's not hard. It's a doctor-developed program. You can follow it. It's easy. It helps you lose weight fast, naturally, safely. You don't have to take injections. You don't have to take drugs. You're not taking prepackaged meals or bars or anything like that. And if you don't want to exercise, you don't have to. Somehow, and don't ask me the science, I don't know it, the program helps you reset your metabolism. I do know, though, it helps you keep your weight off for good because you are given a coach and you get ongoing support. So the program costs about half as much and works twice as fast as most other programs. If you're interested, and I know if you've been struggling, it's hard to take that first step, but take the first step. Go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com and schedule your free consultation. Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month or two. I've done it. I've still got a long way to go, but man, in these first 7 weeks, things are going great, and it is crazy as I see my body lose up to 1 pound of fat a day. So schedule your free consultation by calling 262-449-1180 or go online at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. That's MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Results may vary.
St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Stores has been voted the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel's Best in Thrift. So to all who voted for us, thank you. And to those who haven't yet been here, there are so many items to explore. And at thrift store prices, you can find a really great deal. At the same time, you'll be helping us help others, sometimes folks right in your own neighborhood. St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
New treatments for joint pain are here. By now, you've heard about regenerative medicine. If you're wondering if you're a good candidate, answer these questions. First, does chronic pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or other joints keep you from doing the things you enjoy? Golfing, jogging, time with the family. Does it hurt doing the things you need to do, like getting out of bed, sleeping, working, and walking? And finally, do you want to avoid surgery and all of the pain, long recovery, and uncertainty that comes with it? If you answered yes to any of those, you need to call QC Kinetics now. Learn about exciting advancements in regenerative treatments that can give you long-lasting pain relief with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. Get your free consultation today. Call QC Kinetics. That's QC Kinetics. Here's the phone number.
Call now, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474.
A texter from the 414 sent a smiley emoji. They're still hoarding toilet paper. The first time I went to Costco or Sam's or Walmart and they didn't have toilet paper, I was like, oh my God, this is real.
Did you invest in a bidet?
No, I did not.
I remember that was a wave as well as far as putting bidets in case there wasn't going to be enough toilet paper.
Kristin, I was still eating Freedom fries. I'm not getting a bidet. There's no chance of that.
I'm just saying you're missing out. Bidets are great. It's the one thing that the U.S. has not caught. Maybe not the one thing, but one of the things the U.S. has not caught wind of is how great bidets are. I will die on that
never
hill.
leave the house, though. I've heard they're very nice.
Those are the ones that warm up.
Oh, see, now you're just tempting
All right,
me.
well, we didn't get to what we said we were going to. But when we come back after the news, Giving Tuesday. But first, ABC News and local headlines.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The NTSB briefing the public on the January mid-air collision between a regional jet and Army Black Hawk helicopter near Washington's Reagan National. The NTSB chair, Jennifer Homendy, says there needs to be immediate changes to flights at that airport.
The existing separation distances between helicopter traffic operating on Route 4 and aircraft landing on runway 33 are insufficient and pose an intolerable risk to aviation safety by increasing the chances of a mid-air collision at DCA.
All on board both aircraft died. More fallout for stocks after President Trump vowed to slap a 25% tariff on steel and aluminum from Canada starting tomorrow in response to Canada's 25% tariff on electricity to U.S. states. The U.S. and Ukraine meeting today in Saudi Arabia, working on a proposal for a ceasefire deal to end Russia's war. Ukraine agreeing to the U.S. proposal. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 1:31. 37 degrees and sunny from the WTMJ Breaking Newsroom. I'm Greg Matzik. A former correctional officer charged with exploiting a child. 40-year-old Samuel Pieper of Whitewater faces 4 felony charges for child sexual exploitation and trafficking. Officers searched Pieper's home on March 6th after receiving tips from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children of money being transferred to the children in exchange for videos or images in June or July of 2024. So far, the investigation has not found any known local victims. An elderly cyclist struck by a driver Monday in Glendale has died. Police Chief Rhett Fugman confirms to WTMJ the 73-year-old victim died overnight, hit while biking at Green Bay Avenue and Green Tree Road. The driver of the vehicle stayed on the scene. It's not known if charges are being filed. And CVS is planning to close another location in southeastern Wisconsin. This time, it's the pharmacy at 92nd and Greenfield in West Dallas. April 15th will be the last day. Prescriptions will be transferred to the location at 75th and Blue Mound in Wauwatosa. And finally, going to have to wait a little longer to hear the Piano Man in Milwaukee. Billy Joel postponing his upcoming concert stops to recover from surgery and undergo physical therapy. Joel is expected to make a full recovery. He was scheduled to play American Family Field on April 26th. The tour is being delayed until July 5th. No rescheduled date has been set. Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The NASDAQ is trying to make a rebound here. It's up 50 points at 17,519. Still time for the S&P 500 to make a rebound. It's currently down about 25 at 5590. Now, Dow is way off, about 400 points in the red at 41,521. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite, financial planning at every level. For details, visit annexwealth.com. Taking a look at your roads, the WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic update. There was a disabled vehicle off the road 94 westbound at Highway F. That is since out of the way. And got a new disabled vehicle, the ramp from County T to 94 eastbound. Again, just off to the side of the road on the ramp. Volume appears light in that area. Really no reason for a slowdown. In fact, you're experiencing normal and standard travel times this afternoon. Temperatures on the decrease throughout the course of the day. Will bottom out about 32 degrees, wind gusts up to 25 miles an hour. Wednesday, mostly sunny, a high of 53 inland. Thursday's high 58 away from the lake. Friday, expect some storms in the evening hours and a high of 71. Right now in Waukesha, it's 43 degrees. Madison, 46. It's 41 in Green Bay and 43 at the Avenue. I'm Greg Matzik. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 1:34.
With the ability to market luxury homes on a higher scale than ever before, Century 21 Benefit Realty has taken a huge step forward to tap into a global network of buyers. Maximum exposure to spotlight your unique home with our fine homes and estates marketing so you can sell it for the highest price. And with no upfront fees and 1.9% real estate commission, you win. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated. First off, our 1.9% commission structure helps get their foot in the door, and that's why agents like working here. But what they really like is having the strongest marketing tools available, with the resources to help them sell homes at the highest prices to satisfy their clients. Century 21 Benefit Realty offers what agents like most, and that's to help them be successful. If you really want to believe in the business model that you're representing, give me a call. I'm Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty. Call me, and let's talk about your future. Each office is independently owned and operated.
Tired of staring at the same old garage door? Vince Vitrano here, Lifetime Door Company, wants to give you a new one for free. Your chance to win by texting GARAGE to the WTMJ talk and text line, 855-616-1620. All you need to do is take a picture of your garage door or get creative. Tell us a story. Register to win, and you can pick the door of your dreams. Valued at up to $8,000, text GARAGE to the WTMJ talk and text line, 855-616-1620. For contest rules, visit our website, WTMJ.com.
Wherever you are in Wisconsin, there's a free and confidential Aging and Disability Resource Center, ADRC, or Tribal Partner Agency. We're here for older adults, adults with disabilities, and your families. ADRCs are a bridge to support for benefits and financial assistance, transportation, in-home care, and more. Get to know your local ADRC and connect with resources today. Call toll-free 1-844-WIS-ADRC or go to findmyadrc.org. Paid for by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
Find furniture for life from Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
Staying active, essential for overall health. Proper medical support, essential for staying active. WTMJ's Vince Vitrano for Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Whether it's keeping a weekend warrior like me on the tennis court or keeping young athletes in the game, you want the best in sports medicine, that's OAW. Surgeons, nurses, and physical therapists help you recover from injury, avoid injury in the future, and enhance performance. Get care 7 days a week. Walk right in at an Ortho ASAP clinic or book an appointment online at orthowisconsin.com.
Hey, it's time for Giving Tuesday, where we introduce you to Wisconsin people and organizations that are advocating for causes and doing good across the state. Well, it is Women's History Month, and Saturday was International Women's Day, so we wanted to make sure that we were highlighting some interesting organizations empowering women and girls right here in Wisconsin. So today we're talking about Girls Rock and Ladies Rock, which is an organization that fosters independent thinking, building positive self-esteem, and bridges cultural and social divides through music education and performance. So joining us now is Girls Rock Executive Director Mary Joy Hickey. Welcome to the show, Mary Joy.
Thank you so much for having me.
So why music? Like, we've talked about this before with sports and what sports can do for kids, but what is it about music and picking up a guitar or being on stage that really emboldens young girls?
Oh, there's so many layers to this question. First, there's an element of technical mastery in whatever instrument that you choose to be working on. So I think that there's confidence that is built through discovering how something works and working through challenges and mistakes, and in an environment that we create with supportive peers and mentors, you really can face the challenges that you're working through and overcome them and get on the other side. And then you have that reference point to look back on next time you have a challenge in life of like, hey, I did that. But I also think that something that's cool about our camp design is that we put, whether you're in a Girls Rock camp, which is for youth, or Ladies Rock camp for adults, you're put into a collaborative experience. So it's not just you writing a song and expressing your own, just your solo perspective, which is, of course, integrated as a part of the process. But the really fun part is that you are all working together to solve a problem that doesn't have a specific right answer or solution. You're trying to write a song to perform at the end of the week. And you have to make choices together, integrating, listening to each other, working together as a team to come up with this creative masterpiece. And then you get to perform it on stage in front of others, and we cheer for you, and we make you feel like the coolest person in the world. And you are, because you just went through this really intense boot camp and pushed yourself and transformed yourself in the process while building a strong community.
Oh, that's awesome.
So what was the inspiration and the history of Girls Rock?
So Girls Rock actually started in Portland, Oregon. Not surprising.
Yeah.
Yep.
It started as, I believe, a grad student's project at school. And then it was a movement that just spread around the world in the early 2000s. And it came to Milwaukee on December 12th, 2012. I was at this very first planning meeting. Val Lux and Ashley Smith, who are two local business owners in Milwaukee, they decided they wanted to start a chapter here. And so the summer of 2013 was the first Girls Rock camp, and we served 32 campers in a single camp week.
Wow.
And then the next year, I was co-founder of the adult program, Ladies Rock Camp, because there's so many people that came out of Girls Rock and were like, I wish this was around when I was a kid, and man, I wish I could do that. I want to get on stage. And we're like, why not? Let's do it.
Yeah.
So the first Ladies Rock Camp was in January of 2015. And then now we are entering our 12th camp season, and we have 2 summer camps that for Girls Rock that are totally sold out. We have I think we have 117 campers total enrolled, and then we have 2 Ladies Rock camps for the first time this year. So that's really exciting, and we have a lot more in store.
So what's kind of like, is it just a week, or what does the camp look like once it gets going?
Sure. So for our youth camp for Girls Rock, so that's for ages 8 to 17, and it's for girls, non-binary, and trans youth. And they can come to camp and they learn an instrument, form a band, write a song, and then they perform it on stage at the end of the week. So
they do all of that in 1 week?
In 1 week.
Okay.
It's a classic summer camp
It's novices. Format. It's not kids who already play instruments, or can they have played instruments before?
They can. Yep. You don't have to have experience. We have several instrument instructors that work with the different experience levels. So we break them up in instrument instruction and then bring them back together in band practice with their band coach. So they're also mentored by like a camp counselor. And we also, for the adults, the timeline gets even squished further because we're not looking for a summer camp format. Now we're looking more at like what can we fit in as adults into a creative retreat weekend. So for Ladies Rock campers, we kick it off on a Thursday night. On Friday morning, they come into camp and they start instrument instruction, band practice, workshops. And then by Sunday night, they're performing on stage. And this year, we're at the Radio Milwaukee Studios in the 3rd Ward for the first time.
Oh, that is very cool. So as far as approaching 10 or plus years doing these camps for both youth and adult women, what are the similarities and then what are the differences as far as kind of the experience or the outcomes you see from campers?
I love this question.
Okay.
I would say, I'm specifically going to contrast between Girls Rock and Ladies Rock because that's what's most fascinating to me. I would say with Girls Rock camp, we're reaching girls at a very critical age where there's a possibility that they could be foreclosing on opportunities because of gender dynamics, because of different societal messages that they might receive. I know that there is research on, specifically in STEM fields, on how in 4th grade is a big turning point for girls that might foreclose on the possibility of STEM careers. And so for music, we come in and to integrate the spirit of you can do this, you can work through hard things. Look what you can do together when you're supported. That sets up a lifetime of, I hope, some resiliency that can serve them across a diversity of contexts. Ladies Rock is fascinating because we serve campers from ages 18. We've had campers in their 70s. And so everybody's coming in with this lifetime of stored experiences, of stored messages. And so it's really a weekend of unlearning and figuring out what those blockages are. And how can we relearn? How can we update some of these messages that maybe have been in there for years of I can't do this or no, how there's so many ways we hold ourselves back. And I think the power of coming together in a community and forcing yourself into taking a risk is that you do things that you never thought you could do, and you don't do it alone either. You really lean into the power of relationships.
That's
now,
so cool.
You mentioned earlier that you heard from a lot of the ladies who rock that it was, I wish there was something like this when I was a kid, or what else do you hear? Because when I listen to you talk about the ages of the ladies who rock and coming in, what are those the two main drivers that they wish they had it as a kid, or they've always wanted to be on stage? It seems like there would be something a little deeper that's making them long for this connection and group experience.
Yes. So some things that I have pieced together through the many years that I've been at camp is there's a drive for a sense of belonging. Sense of belonging is, I think, being challenged in a lot of contexts in our everyday life, whether that's through technology, through our societal divides that are going on. And so when you come together to focus on a creative project, you're really building this community where you get vulnerable with each other. And so it's creating this space where you can show up as authentically, as your authentic self, and be accepted for that. And it's creativity, it's art. And whatever you do and put out there, like, we receive that. Yeah. And there's something so powerful in that. I think my belief is that the deepest longing as humans is that we want to be seen and heard for who we actually are. And I think music provides a great vehicle for allowing people to reveal themselves and to experience that true, deep sense of belonging. Nice. I also think that as adults, we have a lot going on. Yeah. And it's hard to create space for creative expression. I believe that creativity is vital to solving some of society's biggest problems right now. We can't go by these templates and these rule books. We have to be able to solve problems that don't have clean-cut answers. And so when you're engaging in creativity, you're really you're approaching problems in a different way. And I think music can help you bring out patterns. It can develop leadership skills through working with others, learning how to resolve conflict, and to take risks. So I think there's a lot to contribute to just society as well from these skills.
All right, well, unfortunately, we have to let you go. But Mary Joy, where can people get more information, especially about some of the upcoming events that you have going on? Awesome.
So coming up most recently is going to be our Ladies Rock Session 1 Showcase, and that's going to be March 23rd at Radio Milwaukee Studios. Doors are at 6:30, shows at 7, and you can find more information at girlsrockmke.org.
All right, thank you so much.
And somebody texted in, just before we let you go, sorry to interrupt you, Kristin. Somebody wants to know, is the Girls Rock an overnight camp or a day camp?
It is a day camp.
Day camp.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, Mary Joy Hickey is the Executive Director of Girls Rock Milwaukee. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll be back with more after this.
If you know of a Wisconsin organization you would like highlighted on Giving Tuesday, email us at spanning@wtmj.com. We can always use a little help from our...
Your European experts at Fox World Travel are ramping up and busy as ever. With the trending spring and summer European travel season, Fox European experts mean you can maximize your time soaking up the warm weather, blooming flowers, and vibrant landscapes without worrying about your travel or missing a moment. Port hop along the Mediterranean with Celebrity or Holland America, or design your own bucket list adventure with Globus. Visit us online or call 866-GO-FOX-GO. Your European immersion awaits.
Goodyear, Dunlop, Kelly, Continental, General, you name it, we got it.
Plus, free flat tire repair, free tire rotations, and more.
So when you're due for tire service, schedule it at richlawns.com.
That's Richlawns with 2 N's.
Richlawns. Debbie Loziga here for Kohler Services. If you've been putting off your bath or shower remodel, now's the time to turn to Kohler Services. Family owned for 150 years, Kohler is your Wisconsin manufacturer providing care for life. This month only, get $1,000 off your Luckstone shower remodel and no payment financing until 2026. Visit KohlerServicesWI.com to request your free quote with fast professional installation always included. That's KohlerServicesWI.com.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
During tax season, your info travels lots of places you can't control.
W-2 arriving from payroll platform 3.
Everything criminals need to steal your identity is on your W-2.
Last call for accountant at home office, 1 minute.
LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points per second.
Tax preparation data centers with service to IRS. All aboard.
If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Hi, I'm Jim Token, president of the Auto Dealers of Metro Milwaukee. Did you know that Adam members employ more than 7,500 people? Plus, Adam recently completed their 14th annual Feeding America Change Your Oil promotion. To date, Adam has donated over $875,000, which provided over 2.6 million meals. Start your next car search by finding an Adam member dealer at adam.com. That's ADAMM.com.
Oh, this could be Girls That Rock.
I know.
But
I can't wait for... There's so many things that I can't wait for Frankie to be old enough to do. Like I went to the Girls on the Run gala.
Yep.
Because we talked to them for...
right.
I don't know when that was. End of December?
I think so.
And that was, as galas are wont to do, super emotional. I was like, oh, I can't wait for her to be old enough to be part of this program. Can't wait for her to be old enough to play the bass.
That poor kid is going to be overscheduled to the nth degree.
But no pressure.
No pressure.
Just have
you just
fun.
have to be
Go
in
do
everything.
the things. Get off your screen. Get out of the house.
Well, that's good. That's a good mantra.
Right,
Yeah, 100%.
All right. So when's the last time you played a DVD?
Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not that long ago.
No, not that long ago.
So you guys have a functioning DVD player in the house?
We do. We have a...
Okay.
We used to have two. Now we have one Blu-ray player in the family room.
Because you'd think about CDs and DVDs, and they feel like they're indestructible.
Correct.
Right? They don't seem like something that's going to...
No, they should last forever.
Yeah, like they might crack, they might scratch.
Yeah, but you have to work hard to crack or scratch them.
Oh, you don't have to work that hard to scratch them. I remember the amount of skipping that would happen on some of my favorites.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, see, I never scratched a CD.
You also seem like someone who takes care of your things.
I take care of my
yes,
things.
I do not take care of my
all right.
things,
Well,
let's be honest.
Okay,
so,
fair enough.
It turns out that if you have DVDs that was released by Warner Brothers between 2006 and 2008, the studio recently acknowledged that many of those DVDs are unplayable now due to a defect that is causing disc deterioration.
And they're just finding this out?
They're just finding this out.
Oh.
I guess some editor of some website noticed that it was happening, and then through the powers of the internet, the interwebs found that it was a theme, that there was other people who were experiencing this. And so despite the fact that Sony says that DVDs should be able to last up to 100 years.
Yeah.
So all those rotting in a landfill somewhere is another problem.
Yeah, that's a whole story.
But if this is you, if you have some of these DVDs from 2006 to 2008, Warner Brothers is saying if you contact its support team for a replacement, they will replace it, or they will replace it with a title of like value for movies they can't reissue. And so there's a Google Doc going around of the master list of rotted Warner home video DVDs.
I looked at this list, and at first I'm like, oh, this is just big box sets of old classics. But then I kept scrolling. I'm like, oh no, these are individual movies. Yeah.
It's
nuts.
There's a lot on there. But so if you Google Warner Brothers rotting DVDs, you can cross-reference your collection. But all right, let's get more. Let's do this, and then there's always more.
You should be listening to Wisconsin's Midday News each weekday from 11 to 1.
Bucks president Peter Feigin joins us live here in the studio right now.
But if you missed us, catch up anytime with Greg Matzik and Jessica Ty by listening to the Wisconsin's Midday News Podcast.
What you're seeing now is like the reality of, playing a season together, kind of, getting to know each other.
Powered by Siding Unlimited, siding, and a whole lot more.
Don't forget, take us with you wherever you go. We'd love to have you with us.
Hey, boaters!
It's a boater's do-it-yourselfer's dream store. Kendor Marine stocks thousands of boat parts and supplies. Just about everything you'd ever need to keep your boat up and running. Whether it's common or something you think might be discontinued, you can bet on us having it. So don't be surprised when we have just what you need. I'm Dave Doro, and boaters in the know exactly where to go. Kendor Marine, 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey, boaters! Cruise to Kendor Marine. We got everything you need but the water.
KendorMarine.com.
Hey, boaters!
Some call them oddball parts, but we call them a huge part of our inventory. Dave Doro here from Kendor Marine. With thousands of boat parts and supplies stocked right here in our store, you won't have to look elsewhere. If you need it, chances are we got it, along with expert advice to get your job done right. Hey, boaters in the know exactly where to go. Kendor Marine, 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey, boaters! Cruise to Kendor Marine. We got everything you need but the water.
KendorMarine.com.
Outdoor Living Unlimited puts cool stuff in your yard. Patios, decks, pergolas, outdoor kitchens, screen rooms, even in-ground pools. You dream it, we design it together, then Outdoor Living Unlimited installs it for you. OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
It's like being trapped in a cage. And I know, that sounds dramatic, but your breathing triangle problem has got you trapped. And once you're freed, you're going to be able to live the life that you're missing out on. Now, this can simply mean experiencing the true pleasure of breathing freely. It will mean better sleep and more energy. And the worry of this problem any more affecting your life is going to be gone. Because in almost every case, when Advent has solved a breathing triangle problem, it's a one and done. Because we're not in the business of delivering Band-Aids. We want to fix your nasal breathing problem for good. We don't want you to be a lifelong patient. We want you to be our next success story.
Isn't it time you break free from that cage? Take the next step. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
Results may vary. Most insurance accepted.
Tune in on Sundays at 10 a.m. for the AccuNet Mortgage and Realty Show. Join AccuNet's Brian and David Wickert for the most up-to-date information on mortgage trends, along with timely news on the real estate market. The housing market is in flux, but the national headlines don't often fit local market conditions. Find out what's really happening on the front lines of real estate and mortgage financing in Wisconsin and make better decisions by tuning in every Sunday at 10 a.m. The AccuNet Mortgage and Realty Show with Brian and David Wickert on WTMJ.
All right. Well, when we come back, what do we have next hour? We got Dr. Ford talking about obesity drugs.
Weight loss drugs. We're going to talk about the St. Patrick's Day parade. We're going to talk about our threats to not only people in this country illegally, but immigrants across the world. Kristi Noem with her wavy hair laying the smackdown on behalf of Donald Trump. We'll get to all of that.
But first, we got to do the news, and then we'll come back and spin around the state on Spanning the State.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here for QC Kinetics. You know, I get a lot of questions about QC Kinetics treatments, people asking if they should consider it for their own joint pain. Well, here's how you know. If you answer yes to any of these questions. Is your quality of life impacted by chronic pain in your knees or hips or shoulders or other joints, trouble sleeping or walking? Do you want to avoid surgery, a long recovery, and uncertainty that comes with it? And most importantly, do you miss doing the things you love because joint pain is holding you back? If you answered yes to any of these questions, don't wait. Call now. Call QC Kinetics and ask for your free consultation and learn how the latest advances in regenerative medicine can help you get lasting relief. No drugs, no surgery, no downtime. 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics today for your free consultation. 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics today.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
If you need a place for new home interior ideas, then you have to come talk to us. Our on-staff decorators know furniture, home decor, and a lot more. And they're not only creative, but also very willing to help you make great choices. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating taste come to find premium home decor at a value. Design Exchange in Heartland and Pewaukee. Stop in often because our inventory changes daily.
Design Exchange.
Previously, it has been gently loved, but here you'll only find very well-conditioned premium home decor items that you likely won't find elsewhere. Distinctive furniture, unique antiques, and original art, and other tasteful home decor at a value. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating taste come to find premium home decor on consignment at 25 to 40% off retail prices in Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
James Imaging Systems, your local document imaging partner. JamesImaging.com.
Trusted, relevant, locally owned, locally programmed. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620, WTMJ Milwaukee.
At 2 o'clock, it's 37 degrees. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low of 32. For your Wednesday, mostly sunny with a high of 53. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Tiff Pua. Ukraine has accepted a U.S. proposal for an immediate 30-day ceasefire with Russia. Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
Today, we made an offer that the Ukrainians have accepted, which is to enter into a ceasefire and into immediate negotiations to end this conflict in a way that's enduring and sustainable and accounts for their interests, their security, their ability to prosper as a nation.
The U.S. agrees to lift its suspension on intelligence sharing with Ukraine and resume weapons shipments to the country that were paused 10 days ago. The ceasefire proposal is subject to Kremlin agreement. President Trump says he will double his planned tariffs on steel and aluminum from 25% to 50% for Canada, escalating a trade war with the United States' northern neighbor and standing unmoved by recent stock market turmoil and rising recession risks. Canada is not reacting lightly to these proposals. Ontario's Minister for Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade, Vic Fedeli, was recently on the campaign trail going door to door. He tells Wisconsin's Afternoon News he's never seen the country more united.
Every single door, they told me the same thing, that they now, when they go to a grocery store, they turn every label around to make sure that the product was not made in the United States, or they told me that they're canceling their trips to Florida or anywhere in the United States.
Ontario alone could lose 250,000 jobs due to U.S. tariffs. Staff at the USAID have been told to shred classified documents. CBS's Sarah Cook has more from Washington.
According to an email obtained by CBS News, staff were told to, quote, shred as many documents first and reserve the burn bags for when the shredder becomes unavailable or needs a break, and to label burn bags in Sharpie with the words secret and USAID/B/IO. The email came from the agency's acting executive secretary. Per the email, the destruction of these documents began on Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. and will take place all day. Federal records cannot legally be destroyed unless done so in accordance with the Federal Records Act. Sarah Cook, CBS News, Washington.
UW-Madison is among 60 universities across the country in danger of losing federal funding if they fail to protect Jewish students on campus.
A letter sent to the school Monday warns of potential enforcement actions if UW-Madison does not fulfill obligations under Title VI of the Civil Rights Act to protect Jewish students on campus. UW-Madison is the only Wisconsin university on that list. The letter comes almost a year after a pro-Palestinian encampment formed on the campus. Meanwhile, UW-Madison has two open Title VI investigations against it, alleging violations relating to anti-Semitic harassment and discrimination. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
Sales plunge at Menominee Falls-based Kohl's.
The fourth quarter net income at Kohl's dropped 74% from a year ago, and sales fell more than 9% for the quarter. New CEO Ashley Buchanan says their plan moving forward will be to offer a more balanced assortment, reestablish Kohl's as a leader in quality, and create a smooth experience both in-store and online. But he admits it's going to take some time to right the ship. Some layoffs and store closures have already taken place. Eric Bilstead, WTMJ News.
Time for news about your money. Here's your WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. A mixed bag on the boards today. The Dow is down 242 points to 41,688. Your S&P 500 is also down just under a point to 5,614, but the NASDAQ is up 143 points to 17,611. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, and Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 2:04.
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom-quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services. Whether you're moving, renovating, or updating, our designers will help your vision become a reality. Visit Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield on Capitol Drive and in Greenfield on Highway 100 to save 30 to 35% store-wide today. Sleep better and save more with mattresses from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in our Milwaukee factory, our mattresses utilize natural materials like cotton cushioning, which dissipates body heat, Joma wool quilts for warm wintry nights and cool summer evenings, and natural latex providing superior conformability and pressure relief for aching joints. Stop in today at any Ken Michaels Furniture store and save up to 50% compared to national brands.
Hi folks, this is Hank Albert, owner of BBC Lighting. At BBC, we sell all the top brands of lights and ceiling fans, such as Visual Comfort, Tech, Schoenbeck Crystal, and hundreds more. We get every brand, and our prices are the lowest. I guarantee it. In our award-winning showroom, you'll also find factory closeouts with lights and fans priced well below their original cost. If it's lampshades or repairs you need, we do all that too. There's something for everyone at BBC, including fun for the kids and our famous free popcorn. We're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, Saturday, 10 to 4, and located at 20th and St. Paul Avenue, across from Sobelman's, near the Potawatomi Casino. Stay safe and healthy, my friends.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. The Bucks post up in Indianapolis tonight against the Pacers. Head coach Doc Rivers looking for a bounce back after back-to-back losses.
Just got to keep building with the new guys to get them acclimated. We got to be consistent in the way we play. Every time we play right, it's hard to beat us. And every time we don't, anyone can beat us.
Coverage of tonight's game begins at 6 o'clock after Wisconsin's afternoon news. And Christian Yelich has 2 home runs in his last 2 games. The Brewers take on the Cubs this afternoon in Arizona. Taking a look at your roads with your WTMJ. Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. Just one thing to keep in mind, 94 South at Wisconsin 11. There are some lane closures due to debris. Now, I'm not seeing much of it still on the road. You just want to keep your eyes open when you're through that area. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low of 32. For your Wednesday, mostly sunny with a high of 53. Thursday, partly cloudy with a high of 58. And Friday is the pick day, kind of. Partly cloudy, breezy with night storms, but the high is 71. Saturday, scattered showers mainly early and then windy, a high of 57. Right now in Madison, it's 46. In Waukesha, it's 45. In Green Bay, it's 42. And in Milwaukee, it's partly cloudy and 37 degrees. I'm Tiff Pua. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 2:08.
It's time to take a spin around Wisconsin and find stories you might have missed. Here's Spinning the State on Spanning the State with Kristin, Brey, and Brian Noonan.
Well, there's never an end to the news, and there's never an end to stories in Wisconsin that you may not have heard of. You can always text SPIN to the Siding Unlimited WTMJ talk and text line at 855-616-1620. You'll get all the details on what we're doing now on Spinning the State. You can also just subscribe to the podcast. All right, Kristin, no rest for the weary. Here we go. Let's spin it and see where we end up.
Chippewa Falls.
All right, Chippewa Falls. How law enforcement responds to mental health calls and other interactions with the public has come under greater focus in recent years. In an effort to enhance their crisis intervention skills, Chippewa County law enforcement personnel will undergo new training this week. The initiative is being funded by a grant from the Wisconsin Department of Justice by the Bureau of Justice Assistance. The Chippewa County Criminal Justice Services Department received about $24,000 to incorporate a multiple interactive learning objectives range advanced training simulator, also known as Milo.
I like that better. Milo's easier.
Into field training. Milo is a portable simulator. The technology provides opportunities to train on multiple topics and challenges faced not only by law enforcement, but by crisis intervention teams. A report in the Chippewa Herald stated that representatives from each law enforcement jurisdiction in Chippewa County, including the Sheriff's Office, Chippewa Falls, and other police departments, will receive the training on Thursday. According to the Milo website, Milo simulators help with training for the real world.
That actually sounds like fun. I wouldn't mind going through the Milo simulator myself.
I feel like there's some, I don't know if it was the Wausau Police. I feel like there's certain police departments where you can go through some of the training that they go through to kind of have an understanding for what cops go through, especially in like pulling over and stuff like that, and like what reaction times have to be like, just to have a little bit more understanding from the cops' perspective of what they go through.
I went on a ride along once in Kansas City on a night shift, a late night shift.
How did that come about? So after a stand-up, did
yeah,
the cop in the audience be like, "Hey, you want to come?"
They had seen me in one spot. There was a big cop convention in Springfield, Missouri, where I did a show. And then he said, "Oh, if you're coming to Kansas City, you should come and do a ride along." And so I was in Kansas City like a month later. I called, and we went out and saw a stabbing, break-in. It was intense.
You're like, I'm going to stick to stand-up comedy.
Yeah, it was much easier, and a little bit less loss of blood. Who knows?
Yeah.
Not complete, but we'll see. All right, let's spin it again.
Fond du Lac.
Now, what are the odds? 2 stories involving the Wisconsin Department of Justice. Police-involved shootings are always put under a microscope, especially when they result in a fatality. The Wisconsin Department of Justice is investigating after a 26-year-old man was shot and killed by a Fond du Lac sheriff sergeant who believed the man had a firearm but was actually holding a BB gun, according to authorities. Reporting in the Fond du Lac Reporter stated that according to the state's DOJ, Jesus Armando Mendez-Berry contacted the Fond du Lac County Sheriff's Office on February 24th to report that he had a felony warrant for his arrest and he wanted to turn himself in. Authorities also received a call from a citizen who reported a person matching Mendez-Berry's description, displaying what the caller described as a handgun in his waistband. So Berry refused to follow repeated commands to show deputies both of his hands, and one of the deputies used a taser, a non-lethal weapon, that according to the DOJ. The sheriff's officer then shot Berry because he had what appeared to be a firearm. It later, as I said, was determined that he was holding a pellet or BB gun. So the investigation continues. That is, I can't imagine being on either side of that. It's horrible for both.
No, and what is the effectiveness of care? I feel like that is the worst case scenario because you're not really going to do any damage with the BB gun for as far as like actual protection.
No, you're
and
flashing it for...
It just looks like you're carrying a gun.
Exactly. And as soon as the police are involved, if it's in your belt...
Especially if he had just called to turn himself in.
Yeah. Put the BB gun on the ground. There's a lot of questions, obviously. So it is going to be quite an investigation, and we'll follow the story, too. If you want more details on anything we talked about, because those are just thumbnails of the bigger stories, text SPIN to the Siding Unlimited WTMJ Talk and text line 855-616-1620, or save yourself time and energy and just subscribe to the podcast, and we'll send them right to you. All right, when we come back, weight loss drugs are all the craze. You've seen celebrities using Ozempic, Wegovy. You see the commercials all the time. But if you're in a predicament where you really know that you need to lose weight, your insurance probably isn't going to help you out. So we are going to talk to Dr. Chris Ford about anti-obesity drugs when we come back here on Spanning the State.
He's going to fire up a three for the win, and he hit it! Game time has arrived! Lobs to Giannis, who flushes it in with one hand. Lillard, three-pointer for the lead. It's game time. Green going to fire up a three from the top of the arc, and he sends the ball no line. Takes it down the lane. He'll lay it in with another foul. Oh, baby. The Greek freak is unleashed.
The sound of the Bucks is here on the home of the Bucks, WTMJ.
Saving for retirement was tough enough for us.
Yes, and navigating markets can be challenging at times.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we take a disciplined approach with your investments.
Tell us more about that.
We take an active approach to money management, positioning your portfolio for opportunities we see ahead.
So all your clients get the same portfolio?
No, we tailor your portfolio to your individual goals and needs.
What about communication? We don't like being left in the dark.
We check in regularly to keep you informed on the markets and your portfolio.
Which means you'll help us stay on track.
Yes, our goal is your comfortable retirement. And as a fiduciary, we always put your interests first, because we do better when you do better. At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Vince Vitrano for Connect Chiropractic. Winter shoveling, hibernating, being a couch potato, chiropractic can help bring back your energy. Headaches, neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain. How quickly you can see results will vary from person to person, but time and repetition is key to staying on the right track. No twisting, no cracking, no popping. At Connect Chiropractic, they use an instrument called the Integrator that allows them to be gentle and specific with all their adjustments. New location coming soon to Oak Creek. Get started at goconnectchiro.com.
Welcome back to Spanning the State. I'm Brian Noonan.
And I am Kristin Brey. And in the United States, 42% of adults are living with obesity. And that number is projected to rise to nearly half of all adults by 2030. Unless, maybe, we increase access to the new anti-obesity drugs. So recently, Dr. Chris Ford, who's an emergency physician in Milwaukee, made the case that if Medicare would cover anti-obesity medications, it would save Medicare billions of dollars, improve health outcomes, reduce disparities, and allow healthcare providers to treat obesity as they do with other chronic diseases. So it sounds kind of like a no-brainer. So that's
sounds easy.
Thus, we have Dr. Chris Ford here with us to explain more about the problem and this proposed solution. So welcome to the show, Dr. Ford.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Sure.
So what do we know so far? Because it feels like we're going on to year 3 of this wave of Ozempic and Wegovy. And I know at one point people were like, there's a shortage for diabetics who actually need this. But now that it's proving to be kind of this like magic drug. But what do we know so far about the impacts of these on obesity and overall health?
Yeah, so GLP-1 agonists, so the medications that we typically know, Ozempic, Wegovy, are medications that were initially created in order to help with diabetes, right? But as you said, in a lot of the off-label application that we've seen, it works on multiple aspects of your body system. So it works on the brain, right? It increases satiety or just, your hunger, right? It reduces that. It helps with the transit time of your stomach. So, as things are moving a lot slower, you're not as hungry. And we also see, the intended cause is that it will affect the body's amount of glucose that's kind of circulating around. So it reduces that risk for diabetics to, not have to see me in the emergency department. And so all these things, as I said before, have been shown to show benefits. We have seen in even animal models too that it is shown to reduce some of the inflammatory cascades that leads to things like heart attacks, to strokes, things of that nature. So the potential is endless for these medications, and that's why we want to try to get in the hands of as many people as possible. But insurance is one of those things that is standing in the way, unfortunately.
Before we get into the insurance, we all ignore the end of the commercial where it gives us a million different things that could go wrong from, whatever.
Really fast.
Yes, really fast. And we go, oh, that's never going to happen to me. Yeah. Have you seen any side effects from these drugs?
Yeah, any drug that we see it comes with its own side effects, right? And so that's why a lot of things that give me pause with this situation is more so the commercialization of some of these medications. I don't know who your sponsors are here, and I don't want to step on anybody's toes. But at the same time, you see some of the commercials that are coming out that says, you could do an online consultation with this physician, and then we'll give you that medication as long as you're willing to pay, $1,000 a month out of pocket, right? With that being said, these are medications that have strong, effects on the body and can have some side effects, and it's not intended for everyone. However, the patients that we see that could receive the most benefit of these medications, it can be life-saving for these patients, and it can be life-altering as well.
So it's still something that it's like consult with your doctor.
Absolutely.
This is not something to it's not an over-the-counter drug yet.
No. I wouldn't give someone insulin, a prescription for insulin, and say, good luck, go get it, right? And so it's kind of along those lines, too. These are medications that need to be taken seriously, and it's not for everybody. But for those folks that it could be for, consultation with a physician or a dietitian, if you have the ability to do those things, are going to be, a part of the toolkit that you can use to live a healthier life.
So Medicare is not covering it at all for anybody. How common is it for any private insurance to be covering it?
So private insurance, if you have good private insurance, you do see some folks that have the coverage. But the problem, and this is, so what I spoke a little bit about in the opinion piece, was when you have people who transition to Medicare, right, when they get to that age where they are able, now all of a sudden their insurance doesn't cover it, right? And the current, ringer in Medicare for Ozempic for these type of medications, what you see is it's only approved for diabetes itself, right? And so the original bill that was placed to try to expand that coverage was more so to say, okay, we are seeing obesity as being a health condition, as it is. It's not a choice. And then we're seeing people that are having this multitude of side effects related to it, right? And so we're trying to get it covered in that respect. But for those patients that don't qualify for it, we're not going to see, if they're not diabetic, they're not going to have that coverage anymore.
And it's just then a bottom line for Medicare going, all right, well, it would cost so much to put all these people to cover all of that. We'll gamble that those people don't become diabetic or have heart disease or whatever, because whatever the scale they use, this side is higher.
Exactly, the risk benefit. But if you actually that view is very short-sighted, right? Because like as we see in some of the studies, some objective studies, we're seeing savings of about $175 up to $200 billion in a 10-year span for patients that could potentially benefit from these medications, right? And so that's a reduction in heart attacks, that's a reduction in strokes, right? Liver failure, things of that nature. And so this is low-hanging fruit and it, as I will say, it has bipartisan support in a lot of places too. And so initially, this opinion piece that I created was a letter that I submitted to Ron Johnson, right? To say, okay, in the Senate majority, this is something that, we could all get behind. Not only, does it kind of go along the lines of what I believe in and kind of reducing those social determinants of health, improving, health outcomes in places where people don't have as many resources, but also it's fiscally responsible too, right? This is something that we could save this amount of money and use it allocate for other means.
How much are you, because I feel like I've seen headlines about this, and I think they testified in front of Congress as far as why these drugs are uniquely expensive in the United States and so much cheaper everywhere else. Like, where does the buck stop with that? Why that's happening?
You can say the same thing for a lot of medications that we see. My kid has an allergy and that requires him to have an EpiPen, right? And so if I go international, which I practice internationally, I could pick this thing up for about, $20 to $50. Here in the United States, it's $300. Right. And so how many families are going to have the ability to have that money, to have that actuator on hand for a medication that is life-saving? Right. And so this is a part of the larger issue that we're seeing in a lot of our issues in the United States where, they're multifactorial. Right. This is not just an issue of we need this medication. It's, we need to change the environments. We need to change how things are policed in terms of how much medications cost and who has access to those medications as well.
You made a statement earlier that obesity is a health condition, not a choice, and that's not going to ring true for a lot of people. Do you have some statistics on the cost of obesity in this country, whether it's financial or death rates or any of that?
Yeah, well, we see, it's estimated by the year 2030, about 50% of the population is going to be considered obese, right? And because of that, we're seeing up to about 500,000 deaths a year associated with, complications of obesity. So again, strokes, heart attacks, things of that nature. I see in the late stages in the emergency department where folks don't have access to those medications, if insulin is not affordable to them, if they're, they don't have access to PCPs, things of that nature, how that affects people in the long run. Now, we have multitudes of studies, in endocrine studies in medicine, where we see how having more adipose tissue or having more fatty cells will affect your kidney function, will affect your liver function, and will also affect, kind of that satiety or your ability to say, okay, that's enough, I'm going to push the tray away, right? And so all these things are against patients, and all these things are out of their control, not to mention medications sometimes, which can cause, increased body weight as well as conditions as well. So this is something that we need to look at from, a holistic approach. We need to continue to push for our patients, and, the Hippocratic Oath doesn't stop behind, those closed doors of the hospital, so we're going to keep pushing. So then,
as you said, you wrote this letter to Senator Ron Johnson.
Yeah.
Would the decision to have Medicare cover anti-obesity drugs, is it up to Congress, or who decides that?
Yeah, so the ball's in the Senate Majority's court right now, right? Okay. And so, this was a piece of legislation that was, formulated by the Biden administration, but now it's up to Senate to determine what they want to do with this, right? And, the Trump administration will have some say in it as well. Where I am less optimistic is when you have statements from the HHS secretary right now, RFK Jr., who is stating, instead of giving these medications, we need to give people a gym membership and healthier food options. Well, if you put a Whole Foods in the middle of the north side of Milwaukee, how many people are going to be able to go there, right? And those are statements of people who, like myself, grew up in those situations, and people who didn't, right? And so that you may not have access to those gyms, you may not have transportation, you may have to work, right? So people are just getting by.
And it's really expensive to eat healthy.
It's really expensive to eat healthy, right? Even if it was there, do you have the ability to pay that money to go there, right? And so versus you get all those cheap options, right? It's a Popeyes on every corner, et cetera, right? And so these are all things that, from a healthcare standpoint and from a medical practitioner standpoint, we know this to be true, and we know it to be more than just that issue of patient blaming. But we need to kind of get it across to people in different ways in order for them to kind of come over to our side.
All right. Well, Dr. Ford, you also have a podcast called Pulse Check Wisconsin. Where can people check that out?
Yeah. So Pulse Check Wisconsin, kind of like you're checking your pulse, is a medical podcast from an emergency medicine perspective. We have folks coming on talking about some of these issues. You can catch it wherever you get your podcast. We're on all major streaming platforms, and we'll love for you to come on out and take a listen.
All right. We'll have to have you back for more medical questions. Dr. Chris Ford, thank you so much for being with us today.
Awesome,
Thanks, Doctor.
Thanks.
All right. We'll have more after this on Spanning the State.
Hey Bucks fans, it's Justin Garcia from the Bucks Radio Network, here to tell you about the launch of the Bucks Central podcast feed. Everything Bucks, on demand, in one spot. From sideline to sideline, hear all the ankle-breaking, rim-rattling, and twine-tingling highlights, exclusive interviews, and more. Subscribe to the Bucks Central podcast feed wherever you get your podcasts. All the Bucks content your heart desires in one spot. Check out the Bucks Central podcast feed.
Are you over 18 years old, over 280 pounds, and interested in participating in a clinical research study? If so, you may be eligible to participate in a research study involving MRI scanning. You may qualify to participate if you are 18 years of age or older and not employed by GE Healthcare, are able to hear and understand English, are over 280 pounds, are not pregnant, do not have any tattoos or permanent makeup, have no implants with the exception of permanent orthodontic retainers and breast implants. Pierre O'Godden is a principal investigator for the study being held at 3200 North Grandview Boulevard in Waukesha. Study scans are investigational, and the use of these devices has not been cleared by the FDA. The study is not being performed for diagnostic purposes and is not intended to replace your medical care. Your appointment will last up to 4 hours, and for your time and travel to GE Healthcare in Waukesha, you'll be offered a gift card valued at $80 per appointment at GE Healthcare's MRI facility. To learn more, please call GE Healthcare at 262-312-7855. Again, that's 262-312-7855.
Save up to 50% on the project, then save so much more on your energy costs. Vince Vitrano for USA Insulation. Apply for multiple generous rebate programs that can cut the cost of home insulation in half. Jeff and his team perform an energy audit to help you qualify. Then the project, filling your walls with quieting, filtering, insulating foam that saves you money on heating and cooling from day one. USAinsulation.net.
USA Insulation.
Burkhardt Sporting Goods in New Berlin is the baseball lover's destination. With a massive state-of-the-art indoor training facility featuring hit tracks with precision analytics, a huge open turf area, and all the best training equipment you need. So get in here and get ready to get better. And we'll help you with this special offer. Buy 20 batting cage credits for $30. That's 25% off. This is Brian Burkhardt, and if you love baseball and softball like we do,
you can't beat Burkhardt.
153rd and National. If you plan on draining buzzer beaters, the place to start is Burkhardt, where you'll find a great selection of residential basketball hoops from the best brand, Gorilla. We'll handle the installation and take care of everything to make it easy from start to finish. And right now, when you buy from Burkhardt, standard hoop installation is half price. Only $250 for standard installation. You can't beat that. This is Brian Burkhardt, and when you love basketball like we do,
you can't beat Burkhardt.
New Berlin and Fox Point.
We got to find a good news story to end this show because after listening to Doctor, and now we're talking to Tiff, getting a preview of what's coming up on the news, and we're talking about Gene Hackman. I don't mean to be fragile, but my God,
I know. Well, at least when we
on?
come back after the news, at least we're talking about the parade. Parades are fun.
Parades are fun. And St. Patrick's Day parades are really fun.
It's almost your time to shine, Brian.
Sure.
It's your people's holiday.
It's my people's holiday. And we're going to start it. I might have to start it today.
I've already started listening to Irish music.
Good.
I started mostly since I saw The Crack. The show that I told you about at the Rep.
The play.
And so I've been listening to more in preparation for. Did you see we got 30 seconds. Did you see Dropkick Murphys' viral video?
I love the Dropkick Murphys.
As far as him, they're
the
American,
most anti-MAGA band in the land.
They're American-made T-shirts, and he challenges a guy wearing a MAGA shirt in his crowd. He goes, "If that shirt's made in the U.S., I will give you $100." It was not. It was not.
Shocking. ABC News local headlines next.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. A possible breakthrough in the war between Russia and Ukraine. Talks between the U.S. and Ukrainian officials ending with a month-long ceasefire deal.
Emerging from talks in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, held with senior aides to President Volodymyr Zelensky, Secretary of State Marco Rubio said the Ukrainians have agreed to an immediate 30-day ceasefire.
We'll take this offer now to the Russians. And we hope that they'll say yes to peace. The ball is now in their court.
As a result of progress in the talks with the Ukrainians, the administration says it will now lift its recent pause on intelligence sharing and security assistance for Ukraine. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
The tariff rift between the U.S. and Canada widening. President Trump today adding additional 25% tariffs on aluminum and steel set to begin tomorrow, bringing the total to a 50% hike on both metals. Heavy rains in the forecast for the West Coast, along with the threat of more mudslides in burn-scarred areas of Los Angeles County after those wildfires. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 2:31. I'm Tiff Pua. A cyclist dies after being hit by a car in Glendale. The 73-year-old woman was struck by a vehicle while biking near Green Bay Avenue and Green Tree Road Monday afternoon. Glendale Police Chief Rhett Fugman tells WTMJ the driver who's in the striking vehicle stayed on the scene and cooperated with police. Charges have not been filed. One person is recovering after a shooting in Milwaukee's Harambe neighborhood. Police say it happened around 11:30 on Tuesday near 2nd and Locust. A 70-year-old was mishandling a gun when the gun fired and struck the victim. A 37-year-old was taken to the hospital with injuries. The 70-year-old was arrested. Charges are pending. And you're going to have to wait a little bit longer to hear the Piano Man. Billy Joel is postponing his upcoming concert stops to recover from surgery and undergo physical therapy. Joel is expected to make a full recovery. He was scheduled to play American Family Field with Sting on April 26th, but is delaying his tour to restart on July 5th. No rescheduled date has been set yet for Milwaukee. Time for news about your money. Here's your WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Still a mixed bag on the boards. The Dow is down 274 points to 41,647. Your S&P 500 is down 6 points to 5,607. But your NASDAQ is up 108 points to 17,576. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Taking a look at your roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic. One big incident to report. 45 north at the ramp to Good Hope Road. There is a crash right on the ramp. Now, there is a car on its side and there are people standing in the road trying to get help. So please be careful as you move through that area. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low of 32. For your Wednesday, mostly sunny with a high of 53. Thursday, partly cloudy with a high of 58. And Friday, it gets warmer, but kind of breezy and cloudy with night storms, a high of 71. Saturday, scattered showers, mainly early and windy, a high of 57. Right now in Hubertus, it's 43. In Delavan, it's 49. And in Milwaukee, it's mostly cloudy and 36 degrees. I'm Tiff Pua. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is coming up on 2:34.
From sliding framed, semi-frameless, or frameless glass shower doors to heavy all-glass custom enclosures that can be built to fit any opening, at Less's Glass, we cover all the bases. But our biggest strength isn't only our selection. It's in our installation experience. We've been around nearly 40 years, and you only last that long if your installers leave the job the way your customers expect it to be left. Other places can sell you a glass shower enclosure, and some of those big guys may even be able to do it for a little cheaper. But the question you need to ask yourself is, will the job be done right? So remember, paying for quality only hurts once, but it does feel good when you get what you expect. This is Stacy Sinks with Less's Glass Service. If it's a new glass shower door, fogged or broken insulated glass replacement, or affordable glass and mirror home decor that you've been looking for, you just can't pass on Less's Glass. Less's Glass Service, serving all of southeastern Wisconsin. Find us at lessglassservice.com.
If you're living with joint pain in your shoulders, hips, elbows, and knees, and you have Medicare or Medicaid insurance, coming to Rejuvenex to solve your pain problems is something you should strongly consider. First off, because our FDA-approved pain treatments have been shown in many cases to be highly effective at reducing inflammation and substantially alleviating pain. Secondly, Medicare and Medicaid cover Rejuvenex treatments, so your cost could be nothing, or next to nothing at all. Chronic pain will only worsen with age. This leads to a far more compromised lifestyle, depression, and soon they start talking surgery. And then what? You have to get in front of arthritis and chronic pain, because the sooner you do, by letting us begin to calm those pain points, the better. I'm Rejuvenex founder Richard Salinas, and we can alleviate your pain so you can rejuvenate your life. Go to rejuvenex.com to request your free pain evaluation.
Well, welcome back to Spanning the State. I am Kristin Brey.
And I'm Brian Noonan. And yes, the Dropkick Murphys are a good way to usher in what is sure to be a fantastic St. Patrick's Day weekend. It is always fun in Milwaukee because the Shamrock Club of Wisconsin puts on the Milwaukee St. Patrick's Day Parade. It is Saturday at noon. It kicks off right here in front of the 3rd Street Market Hall. And joining us now is a man we didn't think we'd be talking to again after last year. He's the parade director, Mike Boyle. Mike, thanks for being here. But like I said, last year when you were here, you said, I've been parade director for so long, and this will probably be my last year because somebody else is going to take over. It's nice to see you.
Thank you.
But what happened?
I couldn't find anybody to take the job. Either that or alternatively, everybody thinks I'm doing too good of a job.
I think it's that.
Yeah, go with
it has to be that. All right, so we found out this morning that our producer, Rhea, has never been to the Milwaukee St. Patrick's Day Parade.
I know.
Maybe I'll have to drag you along with me this week in Rhea. But so, how would you describe it to her? What will be included this year to get her to come?
Oh, my goodness. Well, it's our 57th parade.
Okay.
It would be 59 years except for COVID. I heard your discussion in the 1 o'clock hour.
Yes.
Okay.
And I thought to myself, gee whiz, I'm the only guy I know talented enough to cancel 3 parades in 2 years.
Nice.
Because in 21, we tried to do a halfway to St. Patrick's Day parade in September, and people just weren't ready for it. The annual St. Patrick's Day parade is a celebration of Irish pride, history, culture. The Irish organizations in Milwaukee all take part. There's lots of music and color and dancing. One of the things we're proudest of, and I think it's kind of the Milwaukee Irish Fest effect, is here in the city of Milwaukee, not generally known as one of the great Irish cities of the world.
I know.
We have 8 schools of Irish dance.
It's amazing.
And they're all in the parade, and they all have floats and music and dancing. And I will, just as an aside, I will tell you, trying to organize this thing. And for those of you who are looking in online, I'm currently holding up a 4-page color-coded list of the parade units. In 100 units, and 20 or so are my dignitaries and politicians at the beginning of the parade. I've got to separate 8 dance schools in about 80 spots.
Or else it'd be like West Side Story. They'd be fighting.
That's not
they're a little competitive with one another.
Sound lead, other bands, so we've got all of the local Irish organizations are involved. Milwaukee Irish Fest, the Ulster Project, the Ancient Order of Hibernians, which in a lot of cities, they're the ones that run the parade. The Hurling Club. If you ever wanted to know about the sport of hurling, the fastest game on grass, we'll have the Hurling Club with us. The American Legion Post, the Neville Dunn Post, one of the oldest posts in the Milwaukee area, and the only unit to be in all 57 of our parades, will be joining us. A lot of famous Milwaukeeans, John Doyne and O'Donnell and a bunch of the others all came through that organization. We even let our brother Celts into the parade. Wisconsin Scottish, the Highland Games, join us, along with a wonderful woman, good friend of mine, who portrays Mary, Queen of Scots.
Nice.
We do have wolfhounds. We do have Irish setters, and just a whole lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's a
long answer to a short question.
No, it's great. I love it.
What's the history of the parade? Because there's some history that I was shocked to learn about how long Milwaukee and Wisconsin have had a parade.
Well, it's a little bit split. Okay. The first parade in Milwaukee took place in 1843. But it was kind of an exercise in civic pride. There was a priest in the area, a Swiss gentleman by the name of Father Martin Kundig, who found out that the Catholic bishops were meeting that spring. If you remember, Catholics, Baltimore Catechism, the Baltimore meeting of the bishops, one of the things on the agenda was to cite a new diocese here in the wilderness in Wisconsin. At the time, we were part of the Detroit diocese. And of course, at that time, Green Bay, with its natural harbor and closer to the top of the lake, was a bigger city. And so was Prairie du Chien out on the Mississippi, a major highway. Sure. Father Kundig, God rest him, thought Milwaukee should be the site of that diocese. And so he and the City Fathers put together a St. Patrick's Day parade, made sure there was a big write-up in the then Milwaukee Sentinel, a little 2-pager, and made sure lots of copies went to Baltimore. And it worked because the diocese, now archdiocese, is here in Milwaukee. Unfortunately, that was a one-off.
Okay.
Different celebrations continued, dinners and toasts and responses, and there were little processions. And it wasn't the Shamrock Club of Wisconsin, the sponsoring organization, was founded on March 17th, 1960. And it took them 7 years to figure out that we shouldn't be outdone by our brothers to the south. So we started our own parade on March 11th, 1967 was the first parade.
Nice.
It got together down on Wisconsin Avenue and Cass Street, down near the foot of Wisconsin Avenue, and came westward to Marquette.
Okay.
Stayed that way for a couple of years. They flipped it. They went from Marquette to the lake for the next handful of years, but for like 8 years, that was the St. Patrick's Day parade, and always on the Saturday before St. Pat's.
Very nice.
Our city fathers in 1975 decided to rebuild the bridge over the Wisconsin Avenue Bridge over the river, so we had to move. So really quickly, we spent 12 years on Mitchell Street.
Okay.
After that, 14 years up on North Avenue. We started in the city of Milwaukee.
Oh, interesting.
At 51st and North Avenue, and then went into Wauwatosa. So that was, as of 1987, when we moved there, which was my first year with the parade. We did a quick stop for 1 year on Blue Mound Road. But in 2002, the West Town Association, the business association west of the river downtown, wanted us to come and partner with them and create this parade, and bring our parade to them, I guess I should say. So we've been down here. This is 24 years, 22 parades at partners with the West Town Association.
So it starts right in front of the 3rd Street Market Hall.
It does.
And it goes through down.
You see why I handed you the map when I walked in?
Looking at the map right now, it goes down Plankington and then goes back down MLK Drive. So where would you say, especially if you're someone who has a small child, where would you say is the best place to post up and watch the parade?
I've got a multiple bit of answers depending upon what you want. Right out front of the 3rd Street Market Hall is wonderful because that's where the parade starts. Yep. I start everybody off with a bullhorn, and I provide a little commentary at the same time.
Okay.
Oh, very nice.
You know, going back to my radio days, mostly in engineering, but I like to get on a microphone from time to time. So I describe what's starting off there. That's a really good place. And of course, there's restrooms here in the avenue, the 3rd Street Market Hall, and food and everything. In front of Moe's Irish Pub, where we make a big left-hand turn onto Plankington, is a good place. There's a nice, I should say, the next spot is the reviewing stand, which backs up to Père Marquette Park. Okay. So that's on Martin Luther King Drive between Kilburn and, I'm blowing it right now. State. Yes. Between Kilburn and States. All the bands stop and turn to the reviewing stand and perform, plus you get then narration there as well. There's the string of bars that used to be referred to as Old World 3rd Street, opposite of the Bucks Arena. And then we take a big right-hand turn on Juneau Avenue, across the river, and we go past a couple of other Irish pubs, the Harp and Trinity 3 Irish pubs. That's always a nice big area. So there's multiple places. Yeah. And it's nice not only to hang out in front of these different establishments who sponsor us, tell them thank you. Tell them thank you for, making this happen. But it's also a place to use the bathroom and to get beverages, get warm or get dry if it's wet. It's supposed to be wonderful weather.
I think it's supposed to be great.
Well, I'm thinking it's going to be kind of authentic Irish weather. Maybe about 55, 60 degrees, chance of showers. That's pretty much what it's like over there at this time of year.
It'll be great.
But it's going to be fun either way. The Milwaukee St. Patrick's Day Parade is this Saturday at noon. If you want information on the pre- and post-parade activities, anything else, go to stpatricksparade.org. Mike Boyle is the parade director. Again, we'll see. Maybe you'll be
for lack of anybody better.
For lack of anybody who's not silly enough to go, I'm going to run this parade better than Mike. You just stay where you are. Everything is good. But thanks for coming in. Happy St. Patrick's Day, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks.
All right, we'll be back with more at Spanning the State.
Hi, this is John Neal, CPA and founder of the Neal Group. I have a question for you business owners. How do your books look? Are they ready for your tax return to be prepared? Did you and your accountant talk during the year and develop a plan to minimize your tax bill? Or does this sound like you? You can never get a hold of your CPA. Phone calls are not returned and questions are never answered. Your books are a mess and the bank account hasn't been reconciled since last year. You don't get any advice to help you run your business. That's not the case with the Neal Group. We are advocates and partners with our clients to help them grow. We like to work with you throughout the year to keep your books up to date so you run your business profitably. Are you ready to grow your business, improve cash flow, have less stress, and live a better life? We can help. Call us at 414-325-2040 or visit nealgroup.net to book a meeting and see if we can help. The first meeting is free. Don't wait. Do it now. That's 414-325-2040 or nealgroup.net.
My quality of life is so different, but one of the first things that I noticed was my breathing. I don't ever remember being able to breathe like that.
Debbie Loziga here for Kohler Services. If you've been putting off your bath or shower remodel, now's the time to turn to Kohler Services. Family owned for 150 years, Kohler is your Wisconsin manufacturer providing care for life. This month only, get $1,000 off your Luckstone shower remodel and no payment financing until 2026. Visit KohlerServicesWI.com to request your free quote with fast professional installation always included. That's KohlerServicesWI.com.
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom-quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services. Whether you're moving, renovating, or updating, our designers will help your vision become a reality. Visit Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield on Capitol Drive and in Greenfield on Highway 100 to save 30 to 35% store-wide today. Sleep better and save more with mattresses from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in our Milwaukee factory, our mattresses utilize natural materials like cotton cushioning, which dissipates body heat, Joma wool quilts for warm wintry nights and cool summer evenings, and natural latex providing superior conformability and pressure relief for aching joints. Stop in today at any Ken Michaels Furniture store and save up to 50% compared to national brands.
Are you ready to shake things up at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee? All you gotta do is toss your rewards card into your favorite slots for drawing entries and a chance to be in the Roll for Riches game show. What's on the table? Oh, just $300K in cash and prizes. Play this March, and Thursday nights, you could get on a winning streak that, frankly, you deserve. Let it ride and Roll for Riches. Only at Potawatomi. More info online. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play.
Welcome back to Spanning the State. I am Kristin Brey.
And I'm Brian Noonan. I've been seeing a commercial a lot at home, and you have not seen it.
I have not
yet.
seen this.
But you need to. I know this is not new media, but sit down one night and watch network news, and I'm sure you'll see it.
Okay.
Because if you haven't heard about this, DHS announced a nationwide and international multi-million-dollar ad campaign. It warns illegal aliens to leave our country now or face deportation with the inability to return to the United States. The international ads warn criminal illegal aliens not to come to America and break its laws, or they will be hunted down and deported. Those are the exact words. And if you think I'm lying, the commercial is Kristi Noem, the new Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. She's standing in front of, I'm not exaggerating when I say 8 to 10 flags, American flags. She's in her blue pantsuit, and she is looking very official. And this is just a little part of the commercial.
President Trump has a clear message for those that are in our country illegally. Leave now. If you don't, we will find you, and we will deport you. You will never return.
Very big. It's got a very Big Brother feel to it. The international commercial actually used the words hunted down. We will hunt you down.
Are the international commercials in English?
Yes.
Okay.
Which I don't know how that's going to work out. I'm sure they translate. Sure, they'll subtitle it. But anyway, this program, what I found fascinating was it cost $200 million. That seems like a lot for a government that is all about cutting costs. $200 million.
Just for the placement?
For the two commercials.
Because it couldn't have cost that much to make the ad. It's just her talking to camera.
$38. No, it's for all the buys. Because it is happening... It's happening not only all over the world, but all over the country. I thought at first maybe it was just targeted nationally to sanctuary cities, but that's not true. It's going to most big cities.
Because you think about that right now. I'm wondering what it's spread over, because we're, the projections of the Wisconsin State Supreme Court race.
Right.
It was 56 million the last time, which broke records. People projecting 60, 70 million this time, which is still a fraction of what this is.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it's, the government is always going to spend money whether they want us to believe that or not. There were a couple things struck me, and I've seen this more than once, and every time it comes on, first of all, are people who are going to come to this country illegally going to be dissuaded by Kristin Noonan in a pantsuit telling them not to come? I don't think so, right? If you're trying to get from Central America to the United States for whatever reason, I'm not talking about criminals. I'm talking because most of the people being deported so far have not had criminal records. And I don't know, maybe you stop for dinner somewhere and this commercial comes on in the cantina. Are you going to go, oh, well, if they don't want me, I better turn around? No, you're going to keep coming. And this big brother wannabe tough guy act seems weird. But the strangest thing to me is at the beginning and the end of this commercial, Kristin Noonan thanks President Donald J. Trump for closing the borders, which we know factually is not the case yet. The borders are not completely closed. But then it turns out she was at a big conference on Friday night and told people that Donald Trump is the one who told her to make sure she thanks him. This is a Rolling Stone reported this. The Department of Homeland Security has budgeted up to $200 million to run anti-immigrant ads in the United States and overseas that repeatedly thank President Donald Trump for leading an immigration crackdown. Homeland Security Secretary Kristin Noonan said Friday night that the ads were Trump's idea, and during the administration's transition to power, the president asked her to star in the ads, thanking him for, quote, closing the border.
No. Guy's good at marketing.
Well, and other administrations have done this kind of thing where they put out commercials or messages. But the thing is, these are a little different because, you know, they're thanking him for closing the border, which didn't happen. The use of taxpayer money for basically propaganda ads is a little bit troubling. $200 million. So that's watch for that on your local.
I will tell you once I see it.
If you get home and you're thinking, oh, things are so rosy, turn on the news and just wait.
Okay.
And Kristin Noem's big noggin will pop right on.
I need to be brought down to earth.
Yes, that'll do it. All right, let's do this and then we'll get out of here. It's Spanning the State.
On Wisconsin's Morning News, we profiled the average John or Jane Doe who had no idea when they got up one morning that they'd be saving a life, becoming everyday heroes.
Ryan Lathrop, school bus driver, coming his way, a semi-truck in the other lane, and it's creeping over the center line.
Tried to get around him, see if I couldn't avoid him, and he ended up going right down the side of my bus. I don't